your mind.
Bill and Ted is one of the strangest, yet one of the most memorable movie franchises starring Keanu Reeves. These movies kickstarted his entire career, and his role as Theodore Ted Logan is one that fans have never forgotten. And today, the very long awaited third entry in the Bill and Ted series has finally premiered. Bill and Ted Face the Music. To celebrate the return of Keanu Reeves' breakthrough performance, we decided to do something special. Today, we're going to be analyzing one of the strangest and wackiest Matrix theories ever. What if Bill and Ted are a part of the first Matrix simulation? Welcome to Matrix Explained.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
Before we begin today's video, we would like to announce our first official giveaway for our subscribers. We will be raffling a copy of the Matrix Comics 20th Anniversary Edition, an anthology of all published Matrix comic book stories, some written by the Matrix creators themselves, the Wachowskis. All you have to do to win is be a subscriber to this channel, leave a like on this video, and leave a comment on who is your favorite Matrix character and why. The winner will be announced on August 29th, 2020. Thank you for the support and enjoy today's video. This interesting theory was first made public within the forums of Reddit. It was later then reported on various movie news websites. The original Digital Spy review of this theory states, "One of the things inherited to the Matrix is that there must always be a 1, so that the Matrix doesn't crash entirely. Essentially, the system code itself, a rogue agitator in order to keep most people under control." The architect explained exactly this to Neo. Early versions of the Matrix were not functioning properly because the human mind rejected the reality of the simulation. It was only after the Oracle added the concept of choice that the humans began to believe in the lie and accepted the Matrix as reality. This fixed the problem, but a new one was created, the integral anomaly. An anomaly that was a result of the stability of the Matrix. It was the price to pay for the Matrix being nearly perfect. It was basically a glitch in the code, but one that the architect was happy to handle. In the Bill and Ted movies, we are confronted with a similar situation. The future of mankind is a utopia, whose balance could be entirely derailed by the slightest change. To better understand this theory, we must go to its source on Reddit. Reddit user Van Halen Forever posted that Bill and Ted is the Matrix 1.0. We know from the Matrix movies that the first iteration of the simulation was too perfect, that humans rejected it. The Bill and Ted's universe is essentially a comedy, where they may face some strife, but we all know what ends up good in the end, perfect in fact. Now this theory is based on George Carlin's character Rufus, who's analogous to the architect in the Matrix. Both characters, who may indeed actually be the same character, are interested in guiding the protagonists along their journey. I won't get into too many plot details, but the one element I will mention is the end of Bill and Ted's excellent adventure. Rufus, George Carlin, said that their band, the Wild Stallions, would bring an end to war and poverty, and that the planets would align in the final scene of the movie. Bill and Ted are their own heroes in their own universe. Everything had to go right in history to make it possible. But who isn't to say that every person in the Matrix isn't being guided along by their own personal Rufus? What if negative or skeptical people rejected Rufus because they believed time travel to be impossible? Not to mention the whole Keanu Reeves thing. He is the one in both movies. Both movies require Keanu to set things right. I'm sure there's a bunch I could add, but that's the gist of it. I guess being excellent to each other just didn't work out. Could any of this be true? Obviously, both movies were created by different writers and directors. The two franchises don't share the same universe, so it's completely illogical. But what if it's not? What if the reality of Bill and Ted is in fact part of the first Matrix simulation? In previous videos, we've talked about the multiple versions of the Matrix. So now I will show you a fraction of the evidence that could support this theory. First, there was the pre-Matrix beta. After the war ended, the surviving humans were taken and connected into this very early version of the Matrix. They were plugged into the first power plant and studied in this experimental matrix without their awareness of being connected to the network. In order to keep the humans physically and psychologically healthy, the architect created the first beta of the Matrix, the Paradise Matrix, a place as described by Agent Smith and the architect, where there was no suffering, where everyone could be happy, like a snowy Christmas day at home with a happy family. There were agents in the Paradise Matrix, but their appearance were of celestial beings, like angels. The Oracle's protector Seraph is believed to be one of the agents from the first version of the Matrix. This is why his code appears golden and not green. However, this first version of the Matrix was a disaster. The humans resented the reality, believing that it was too good to be true. Because of this, the architect took a different approach with the next version, one based on, according to him, the history of humanity. The idea that the human mind would better accept an imperfect world filled with suffering. The architect implemented a cause and effect program instead of the concept of choice. Instead of celestial beings, this world featured evil-looking mythical creatures and monsters, such as vampires, werewolves, ghosts, and zombies. This version was appropriately named the Nightmare Matrix. The Merovingian and his wife Persephone are believed to have come from that version of the Matrix. With them are the Exiles, discarded programs that work for the Merovingian, posing characteristics oddly similar to these evil creatures. The twins, for example, can dematerialize as if they were ghosts, and the Merovingian has a unique clothing aesthetic with the colors black and red giving him a vampiric look. However, just like the Paradise Matrix, it too was a failure. The humans were not convinced that that version of reality was real, and so it had to be restarted again. If this shared universe theory were to be true, it would explain the time travel, hell, demons, death himself, as well as other fantasy elements existing in the Bill and Ted universe. They are the leftovers of the previously failed versions of the Matrix. The Bill and Ted version of the simulation would be a combination of the real world as we know it, the Paradise Matrix, and the Nightmare Matrix. If on the off chance any of this is remotely true, then Bill and Ted Face the Music should end with the restart of reality, the beginnings of a new version of the Matrix simulation. In the end, it's not so hard to imagine that these theories are just meant to entertain us, to give us something to joke about, not to be taken seriously, like Star Wars, Inception, and John Wick also being part of the Matrix, though the John Wick theory still keeps us up at night. It's stuff like this that stimulates the imagination and makes us think about how a shared film universe would be like. Alas, our reality is that these ideas will sadly be relegated to theories and fanfiction. We will never see a shared film universe, outside something like comic book movies. But it sure has been interesting to ponder the possibility that one of the first versions of the Matrix could have been the excellent world of Bill and Ted. But do you agree? Does this theory make any sense? Would you like to see a Matrix Bill and Ted crossover? Party on, dudes. If you enjoy our content and are a fan of The Mandalorian and Star Wars, please subscribe to our other channel, Mandalorian Universe. There you will find daily news and theory videos about the hit show and of the Star Wars universe. For Matrix Explained, please leave a like and subscribe. And thank you for visiting the Desert of the Real.